Welcome to ICCG's Close-Up, sponsored by Round World Solutions, where Fortune 1000 CXOs share their enterprise strategies for competing and winning in the global economy. Our wide-ranging topics include big data, governance, supply chain analytics, enterprise mobility, and portfolio management. The goal of our interviews is to understand the CXO's area of focus, the challenges associated with that area, and their plans for confronting those challenges. The benefit to our participants is the creation of a virtual CXO knowledge pool, so CXOs can learn from each other and not have to reinvent the wheel. I'm your host, Ellis Booker. Welcome to ICCG's Close-Up, sponsored by Round World Solutions, where Fortune 1000 CXOs share their enterprise strategies for competing and winning in the global economy. I'm your host, Ellis Booker. Our guest today is Jeremy Foster, Chief Financial Officer and EVP of Analytics at Kasasa. For those who don't know, Kasasa is an award-winning financial technology and marketing services company that provides branded retail banking solutions and products and services to community financial institutions. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you, Ellis.
Jeremy, to start us off, what's your role at Kasasa and how does it relate to both technology and business prerogatives?
Well, as Chief Financial Officer, I lead our accounting, finance, and legal functions. And as EVP of Analytics, I also lead our analytics team, which includes a research team, a automation team, and a business intelligence team. And that team's primary responsibility is delivering value and insight for our client base into what's effectively a $23 billion product portfolio.
Jeremy, can you share with us your top 2 or 3 priorities for the business this year?
Well, the first is to continue to grow our client network. We currently have 700-ish clients overall, 400 clients in Kasasa, which is a branded cooperative marketing strategy that will allow community banks and credit unions to pool their resources to compete against the mega banks. And when you track that in terms of branch reach, which is one measure that we monitor, we would currently be about the 6th largest bank in the United States if all of those branches were one institution. And so our eventual goal is to get to the point where you can actually have Kasasa products, and you can get Kasasa products at more locations than you can at Chase or Wells Fargo.
Interesting. So you were talking about tracking and your title EVP of Analytics. Let's drill into that for a moment. What sort of technologies are you using to track all these 700 customers, their use of the suites and services?
So we have a number of different databases today, and we're essentially pulling data from those clients through a lot of report writers, often which are provided by their core processors. And obviously a significant chunk of our value is in allowing these institutions to see how they compare one against the other. And so a big focus for us is really being able to standardize that data and be able to access that data and help clients leverage it in new and better ways.
So has the analytics that you're using there changed in some interesting ways in even the last couple of years? Because there has been, as you know, a big push for big data analytics, in-memory databases, and so forth. Any of that new technology being applied there at Kasasa?
Absolutely. We've had some pretty dramatic changes just over the last few years. 5 years ago, for example, we were using Microsoft Access and running a bunch of Excel reports and sending clients 16 to 24 pages, depending on their product mix, of PDF'd out of Excel, custom reporting. And that rippled out into even how our account management team was built. Under that model, we had what we called an executive consultant and an associate consultant who were kind of potted. And so you had a high-level account manager who understood bank strategy, and then backing them up, you had kind of a numbers jockey who was basically building all those reports manually every single month. And in our world today, we've standardized a significant chunk of that. We've implemented a business intelligence platform that clients can access for self-service, where they can drill down and play with their own information and see how they compare. We also have a number of custom reports that, even as recently as last year, many of those custom reports were manual, and we had a very large automation focus last year to get to the point where all of those are now on demand, and basically for one of our account managers to be able to access whatever report they want to access from a pretty wide inventory. Mm-hmm. Again, type the number of the institution they want to pull up, and it's there and ready for them. So,
who at the institution, who at the banks are typically looking at these reports, or is it various different departments are interested in your reporting?
For the most part, it's the CEOs and the CFOs that are looking at the bulk of our reports. But we've also, over the course of the past year and a half, been building a number of marketing reports that chief marketing officers or VPs of marketing at our clients will be reviewing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And because you're a financial institution, and because security is one of the hot button topics that we ask all the close-up panelists about, can you speak a little bit about security issues or concerns around offering your services and even the reports to the customers?
So just to be clear, we're not a financial institution. We support financial institutions and a variety of different clients, credit unions and banks, community banks. But that brings with it actually some additional data security constraints, right? So today we're very cautious about accessing PII, personal identifying information, and obviously building out the securities to handle all of that is a pretty significant effort and would dramatically change our approach to the market. So as it is today, we do have to manage permissions. We have to keep individual institutions' data secure. We also have to keep individual institutions' data private because they don't necessarily want competitors seeing all their information. But we also pool that data in ways that institutions can do benchmarking against similar profiled institutions. So
yeah, I was going to ask you if there's any aggregate stuff you're using for benchmarking. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so all of those translate to some pretty meaningful, permissions management and security constraints that we track to. We are, SOC 2 compliant, go through SOC 2 audits, but obviously, the PCI compliance is a different level of effort.
Another topic that we've been asking everybody is the working relationship with IT. Perhaps it's the working relationship with IT there at Kasasa, or working with the complementary departments at your customers' locations. How is that going? Do you have any tips on improving the relationship between IT and other departments?
Sure. That relationship really depends on a whole lot of trust and transparency. And I'll actually tackle two different pieces of it. One is IT, which virtually every business is going to have some relationship between IT and finance, and that's usually more of kind of a functional transactional relationship. Hey, we need X number of systems. Our SAN went out. Whatever, we need to replace it. And then finance is basically trying to figure out the best way to handle that. Do we buy it outright? Do we lease it? That part's actually pretty easy, I think, for most businesses. The main thing is just to make sure that you understand both the financial constraints that the business operates under and the technological needs of the business. And a lot of times, I think where CFOs can go wrong is they can pinch pennies and burn dollars by not making sure that they have sufficient infrastructure to be able to support their client base, for example, or to allow for growth. And so finding the right balance there is I think not too tricky as long as you've got good communication going forward. The other piece of it in our world that's much more complicated is the kind of the overlap between the analytics team and the development team responsible for bringing the data that that insight team needs to operate off of. And we've certainly had our share of hiccups over the last 7 years trying to get those relationships working, and our CTO and I have put in a pretty significant amount of time just this year into building out those relationships. And a big chunk of it is just, first of all, making sure that people are communicating. It's kind of an obvious one. It's taking the time to talk about what you need and what can be provided. And then I think more importantly than that is trying to establish clear lines and clear visibility to what those needs are, to who's accountable for what piece of getting the work done. I'll give you a great example. We had a significant request from the insight team for the data team to support a new product that we're building out. And the initial collisions at the beginning of the year were really around understanding who would be responsible for writing the ETLs, the extract, transform, and load processes to get the data into a usable form for us. And so a big part of what we spent the time working on was really to tease out what was business logic that the insight team needed to manage to, and what were data transformations and standardizations that the data team and our development group needed to manage. Once we had that, everything kind of started clicking and we started moving forward pretty rapidly. So a lot of it's communication, a lot of it is just making sure that you take the time to really define who's responsible for what in a process where a lot of times those handoffs get fuzzy.
Great and very thorough answer. I've been monopolizing the conversation, which I tend to do. Amy, do you have some questions for our guest, Jeremy?
Yes, I sure do, Ellis, and hello, Jeremy.
Hi, Amy.
Hi. My first question is this: how does data access and some of the MDM initiatives that you spoke about earlier change or affect your company's strategy?
It has a dramatic impact on the level of value that we're able to provide to our clients. So, for example, 7 years ago, what we received were summary aggregates, and so we could tell an institution, hey, by the way, in this product set, you have an average of 23 debit card transactions per account per month. And now we're in a model where we can actually show them a histogram and say, all right, well, here's the decile for each of these accounts. Here are the bottom 10%, here are the top 10%. If you make a product change and we change the average balance at which you would pay a premium rate of interest, which is the way one of our products operates, we can get down to exactly the dollar amount of savings that they're likely to see as a result of making a change in that product design. And so that has a dramatic impact. It also opens up a lot of collaborative opportunities as we gain more insight into how those products are operating for us to work together as a team when we start thinking about new products that we roll out.
Wonderful, thank you. And that leads right into my next question. Jeremy, what do you view as the biggest challenge for collaboration across teams?
In addition to visibility to who's responsible for what piece of the work, I think the other thing that's really important is making sure that there's very high fidelity in terms of understanding what the ultimate goal that all the teams are trying to reach together is. A lot of times it's very easy for a team to do one of two things: either to just focus on their piece of the business without thinking about the context of the overall initiative, or they think too much about the initiative and no one actually has a clear line of sight as to who's responsible for which piece of it. And so I think the challenge for us as business people, regardless of your function, is to make sure that everyone on your team understands what the ultimate objective is, but also has good understanding of how their piece feeds into that.
Great, very, very interesting. It definitely sounds like you have a very collaborative organization, and so kudos to you. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. And unfortunately, that's going to have to be the last answer. We've run out of time. Thank you for watching ICCG's Close-Up, sponsored by Round World Solutions. To see more of our interviews, to join the conversation, or to participate as a panelist yourself, please visit our website at iccgusa.com. Thanks for watching.
Hello, I'm Amy Hara, Vice President of Solutions and Delivery for Round World Solutions, the experts in integrated governance with project execution with a focus on big data solutions. Our unique 360-degree view enables us to give CXOs a comprehensive view of where they are today, where they would like to be, and delivers a powerful framework to encompass change management structures to ensure they accomplish their goals. ICCG Close-Up is an interview panel where Fortune 1000 CXOs share their views on big data, governance, and their most pressing issues. At the conclusion of the interviews, we'll be compiling the results into an industry and issue-specific report to share with all of the interviewees, emphasizing common interests and future plans associated with those interests across industries. The benefits to our participating CXOs are the creation of a virtual CXO interactive knowledge base, highly scaled shared resources, and the ability to learn from each other without having to reinvent the wheel. Thank you for watching ICCG's Close-Up, sponsored by Round World Solutions. For more information about our CXO interview panel or to join the conversation, please visit us at www.roundworldsolutions.com. Thank you.